Right peeps, what's going down? Fucking shitty day again, and I was at my class today again. I went twice yesterday and I'm absolutely fucked. Feel like I could go to my bed right now once I have my dinner, but obviously I'm not going to do that, know what I mean? It's going to be a chilled one, but know what I mean? It's not really the night for doing it anyway. My wee boy is away with his grandpa. He's going to a extra class tomorrow. Cause obviously he missed Easter week. I went back last night, so a wee bit of catch up today. But he's young enough to catch up in that as well. Whereas I'm a bit on the older side, so drama classes to me is like fucking starting over again, man. You're in there blowing out your arse, but it wasn't that bad a sesh last night. There was only one of the instructors in, so it was tough enough, but I got through it and wasn't collapsing, blowing out my arse, fucking, know what I mean? So I was quite happy with myself, because I've never went to karate and jiu-jitsu in the same day. I was quite nervous going down last night. Shout out to my wee pal Darryl and off up in off end, who actually drapped me off outside the club, because fucking I was actually in shots with him a long time ago, and he was driving past one day. I was taking Christopher to his class, and then I was talking away to him and that, and then seen him last night, and I was saying to him, I'm shiting myself getting in here, man. I says, I've already been to a class a day, and I had like five sparring sessions at the BJJ, and I says it was like 5 times 5 minute rounds, and you're fucked after it, man. I don't give a well, maybe the more experienced guys on there, but I fucking am, know what I mean? Fuck, lucky I could stand up, know what I mean? But hey ho, innit? Got to put the work in. But see the video that I wanted to do today, right? It was one I was thinking about doing ages ago. But listen, before I go on, if any of you hear that scratching, it's my fucking lizard in his dig box clawing fuck out the sand. Hear him? Fucking nutter. No, man. Fucking throwing sand oil again. But anyway, so this case was like mega notorious, and I don't know, excuse me, sorry, I'm all tired, man, for fucking getting my arse kicked. This case was really notorious, and the reason is because I believe that it changed the way that the prison service and the risk assessments and all that were done, because this wee fucking scumbag who I'm going to talk about, his name's Robbie McIntosh, right? Who in 2001, I think it was, right? When he was 15, so a couple of years younger than me. At what age was I in 2001? I was turning 19, so he's not that much younger than me, but what he was charged with back then was actually pretty scary, man. It's pretty horrendous. It was in Dundee, and in a wooded area, Templeton Woods it was called, right? Fuck's sake, you! It's fucking brutal, isn't it? But he stabbed a dog walker to death. This poor woman, right, out walking her dog in like a wooded area, like a beauty kind of spot. Blitz style attack, random victim. Very, very, very frightening behaviour. Like, and I know I keep saying this, and I'm not trying to like minimise anything that I've done in the past or anything that anybody else has, but these are the type of people that prisons should be used for. Parole shouldn't even be a fucking consideration for fucking scumbags like this, man, because they're out picking random victims to victimise, to satisfy some kind of psychopathic nature. Now I know he was 15 at the time, and it's like the experts all say, oh, but that's too young to diagnose psychopathy because they've not been alive long enough for the traits to set in. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But he stabbed this poor woman in a frenzied attack out walking her dog, and the poor woman couldn't even scream because he had stabbed her through the voice box. So I couldn't. That's the wee tiny details that are just so frightening. Like when you hear about that and you think this poor woman's just been out walking her dog quite the thing, and some 15-year-old fucking Fruit Loop has bounced out. Probably he's probably followed her or he's been concealed. I don't know. I couldn't find out that they kind of details. Because it's what I always say. You're better with the case file than the media reports, aren't you? Because the case files are where you're going to find the witness statements, trial judges' reports, fucking courtroom shit and all that, know what I mean? So, a very, very, very frightening wee guy in the context of women out walking their dogs themselves and all that, but head on, a scumbag like this would be no threat to me, because this is the type of person who probably has some kind of pathological inadequacy or fear of women, that he just wants to destroy women. It's like these attacks were blitz style, and what I mean by blitz style was like he could probably kill you with the first blow or the head if he hit you with the head with something, or if he stabbed you. It's no like maiming. It's like just hundreds of blows to just fucking obliterate you. Know what I mean? Just a maniac. But he was the reason that he got caught for the murder in like the early 2000s was because after he left the wooded area, he was walking past a shop and two shopkeepers were like fucking two workers, and he's like, here, there's been a murder up in Templeton Woods. Now, how did he know that? The body hadn't even been found yet. So the fucking rat's just stuck his cell in, hasn't he? So obviously he's been detained and all that for interview and charging, and he was took to court the year later. But when his trial started, I think I seen something that he says he launched his alibi. He launched an incrimination defence, and he named some pal that he had, right? But the police had found fucking DNA linking him to the scene and all that, so he was fucked. So you have this 15-year-old boy who I believe gave his address as some sort of, I think it was a children's home, right? I'm got about that lizard's balls in a minute. So there must have been some sort of kind of breakdown in the family home if he's in children's home. So he's obviously been giving off signs at an early age, right? Which a lot of people who perpetrate these kind of acts do, because as I keep saying in my videos and all that shit, I studied prison rehabilitation and all that shit by accident. This was what I wanted to specialise in, was studying people who hurt people for thrills, for kicks and all that, or for gratification, because I always think that would be the worst thing that could ever happen to you. Like somebody like that kind of breaking into, like catching you off guard, or being that strong or that overwhelming that you can't even defend yourself, because it must come through your head at some point during this attack, I'm going to die if something doesn't fucking happen here. Do you know what I mean? So imagine how fucking frightening that is. And you've got a fucking wee tadger like this, probably fucking had some sort of kind of upbringing where maybe even his parents were, well, I actually read his ma, I couldn't find anything about his dad, right, but I read his ma was a psychiatric nurse, surprisingly, right, so that's no a shite job, right, but I'm not saying that like people who grow up in houses where the mum have like shite jobs or no jobs, it's like, oh, that must be the reason why. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, with somebody like this, I always find it surprising if he's not grew up in a kind of environment where there's been a lot of violence in the house, a lot of kind of maybe trauma, abuse, neglect, mum and dad fucking arguing or throwing plates off each other or whatever, right? Just you know what I'm hinting at, because in the literature, not just with serial offenders, but with a lot of guys like myself that have been in and out of jail a long time, you see a constant theme of neglect, parents with drug or alcohol issues, domestic violence, fucking violence against the kids. Some even sadly have obviously other kinds of abuse, right? The scary kind. And I always find it so surprising if I see an offender like this, especially who doesn't have any sort of background like that. But the twist in this case, right, was he actually worked his way through the system, this wee fucking prick, right? And what I mean by that is progression, right? So say for talking's sake, I got a life sentence, you got a life sentence, or 10 years, whatever. What you do is, if you want to get home leaves and all that, you have to go for maximum security to basically no fucking security. So what I mean by that is, you go out to Berlin, you're remanded, you get sentenced, you go to shots or somewhere like that, you do so much of your time, and judging on by the way you conduct yourself during that sentence will determine whether you go to like Castle Huntly, which is an open prison, there's no fence around it, the middle of fucking a village outside Dundee, right? And then when you're in there, you can start like going to your ma's house for 3 days a week, whatever it is, right? So you're out in work placements, all that shit, but it's different for lifers as opposed to guys like myself doing a fixed sentence, right? Somebody doing a life sentence has to go through all that shit. I wouldn't need to go through it, I would still get out, but they don't have freedom, they don't have a date on their door, so they have to do it if they want to look good for parole, right? And what I found absolutely fucking mind-boggling was the fact that this fucking rodent was working in the kibble. I don't know if any of you have heard of that. I've heard it. It's like a centre for kind of no wayward kids. I'm trying to use the right word, and I mean like people getting in trouble, people with special needs, people who are vulnerable, so vulnerable teenagers. And he was working in here as his work placement. The fucking Scottish Prison Service said, and this is obviously a perfunctory statement, right, pure made up, this is what we'll say: a rigorous risk assessment is undertaken any time we let a prisoner go on a work placement. Well, let me ask you this then. What kind of rigorous risk assessment was undertaken where this wee fucking scuzzbucket went out to try and murder somebody else in a carbon copy attack right after he had that placement? Now they might say, oh, it was nothing to do with us because he never done it in a placement. Well, aye, but you still fucking cleared his risk assessment. Tell me something. See if I'm in prison judged as a high risk of reoffending. Now I was, right? And the reason for that was because there's all these different things, right? Static risk factors and dynamic risk factors. A lot of shite, right? I'm not even going to sit and bore these with it. It's a lot of pish, man. But do you know, think there must be some sort of flaws in that system where somebody like me, who has the past that I have, has done what I've done, but came out of jail and is living the way I'm living now, but I was a high risk of reoffending, right? But this fucking bam has been getting work placements, go up to the open jail, and on his first home leave in 2017, right? So he's built the trust up with the prison system, going out every day, leaving the jail every day, going to work for Greenock Prison, right? Greenock Prison, and he was going to the Kibble. It's in Paisley or somewhere, right? So it's no a big trek, but he's built up this trust, and the true nature of psychopathy is just the obviously the lack of zero empathy. I don't say lack of empathy. That's just for the kind of the maybe the lesser ones, but somebody like him isn't one of the lesser ones. Them that can stab a dog walker at random 29, 30 times and jump over her head. I don't care if he's 15. He's a psychopath, right? And and when they're saying about the traits not been cemented long enough, then obviously back then that would have been true. But that murder was in 2001. He got out in 2017 on his first home leave, went to the place where he killed his first victim, right? This poor civil servant woman out walking her fucking wee shih tzu or whatever kind of dog it was, right? And he's been acting suspiciously. Now, he left his ma's house with a rucksack, right? And by happenstance, the next door neighbour has had a CCTV system recording. So he's been seen on this, walking along the fucking street with this fucking this backpack with a fucking dumbbell in it, right? Went to the same place where he committed his first murder and attacked this poor grandmother with a dumbbell, tried to bludgeon her to death. And the only thing that saved this poor woman was her screams, because passers-by heard it. And you know something? Because I remember this, I was in Kilmarnock at the time, and see when I heard he went out and reoffended, because I always remembered his name. It was actually that notorious, because, and when I say that notorious, see, like, in prison, see any social worker, any psychologist, they all know who this cunt is, right? So when I heard he'd went out on his first home leave, went to the same place in the summer of 2017 to kill another victim, I was like, are you fucking kidding, man? And I remember watching a documentary, and it was called something like Released to Kill Again, right? So the fucking explanation's in the title, know what I mean? So, and I remember watching the woman, I can't mind her name, it might have been Linda or something, I can't remember, but anyway, like, just normal woman, just going about her day, and this fucking rat's try to kill her. And I believe that she was, so she was saved by the passers-by, but since this has all happened, she has campaigned for changes to the parole system, and I've always said, see, the parole board for Scotland are a fucking useless, man. I remember how many times I've sat in front of them, they were just useless, and that might sound biased, and I do think it sounds biased, right? I'm not going to sit and say anything else, but I do believe I can be objective about them as well, and the fact that they could release somebody like Tam McCulloch, right, who's committed three murders, mate, how do you get let out after that? That is just such a spit in the face to everybody that was ever hurt off that guy, man. Know what I mean? It's bad enough one victim's fucking family, know what I mean? But they're fucking, I don't know, you couldn't fucking read them with a thermometer, man. But anyway, the poor woman who was attacked the second time was obviously like campaigning for changes to the parole system and all that, and the woman's got a point, do you know what I mean? Because how the fuck was a scumbag like that even... You can't quantify somebody like this with a fucking risk assessment tool. You're only... Obviously they're going with his old case history and all that should be enough to tell you he's a risk. He murdered a woman at random for fuck all. Or unless it's what I've said before about certain individuals, the weapon becomes the substitute for his penis, and he gets enjoyment out of hurting somebody. That's the act to him. Like, do you know what I mean? And these people just are just the worst ever vermin, man. They just need fucking flung into mainstream. Know what I mean? Let the troops handle it, innit? But we live in a civilised society, you know this shit. Know what I mean? Aye, right. But it's just so hypocritical. Know what I mean? But I do get about keeping people safe and all that. But see somebody like him, they should just leave his door unlocked, man, and put him in mainstream and then just unlock his door in it. Fuck him, man. Know what I mean? And I hate myself sometimes for even saying things like this in videos. I go, you're a pure dick, but fuck them. Know what I mean? Going out and fucking some wee poor woman out walking her dog, and he's just out fucking... I think he'll murder her today, man, for a fucking... the sheer thrill of it. Like, how do you even try and translate that into your own... How do you understand that? Do you know what I mean? He's a fucking rat. And see, the funny thing is, when I was coming back from my karate last night, right, this is weird, I had to walk through an area that is very... there's a lot of bushes and it's quite dimly lit and all that, right, and there's nobody there. There's always dog walkers there during the day, but I'm walking up at night, it's pissing the rain, can hardly see, right, and I sees these two very suspicious looking characters, right, and I just remember, and I'd seen them earlier that day outside my front, and they were just walking about, looking about, and you could just tell they didn't know where the fuck they were, and I'm like, why are they walking about looking at hussies? And then they were down, so the bit where my karate is, it's a more affluent area, right, lot of nice big hussies, right, lot of money, it's not a fucking scheme anyway, and that's where I seen them, and I walked past them, and I was like, mate, you come near me, man, you're getting put in the wrist locks, innit, lock one secure, innit, fuck's sake. But I want to just read an article I found for April 2002, right, when this wee fucking cockroach got sentenced. So it says, youth guilty of Dundee murder, Wednesday 17th of April 2002. I was actually out then, believe it or not. Wouldn't be like me. A teenager has been found guilty of murdering a 34-year-old woman on Dundee law last summer. Robbie McIntosh, who was 15 at the time, stabbed civil servant Anne Nichol 29 times in what was described as a frenzied attack. McIntosh of Rossie School, Rossie, near Montrose, has denied murdering Miss Nichol, 34, from Dundee. You know what I mean? Only 34, fuck's sake. He was accused of stabbing Miss Nichol, 34, with a knife or similar instrument and stamping on her face. McIntosh lodged a special defence of incrimination, blaming a friend, Robbie Suter, for the crime. But on the 11th day of the trial, a jury at the High Court in Forfar took 3 hours to return a majority verdict of guilty. Sentencing McIntosh to life imprisonment, Lord Bonamy said, one witness described her as having been butchered, and no better description could be applied to the way in which she met her death. It was a dreadful way for anyone to lose their life, and for that conduct there is no explanation, and I think I can say nothing in the surrounding circumstances that might be considered in mitigation. Fuck's sake. In spite of your youth, I consider that the appropriate period to be designated in your case, which I consider to be an extremely serious one, is one of 15 years. See if he done that to now, he'd have got a lot more for that. I think so. Talking at least fucking maybe 19, 20. Members of the dead woman's family cried in the public gallery as McIntosh's fate was decided. During the summing up, the prosecution said there was not a shred of evidence to place Mr. Suter at the scene of the crime. The court heard the victim receive knife wounds to the neck, face, head, back, chest, abdomen and left arm during the frenzied attack as she walked her Airedale Terrier, Sophie. There's a photo of this dog, man, it just makes me feel so fucking sad, honestly. Miss Nichol of Byron Street, Dundee, was left unable to defend herself early in the attack after her voice box was stabbed, a forensics expert said. Her body was later found in woodland by her partner, Gordon Mackenzie. Fucking hell, man, imagine finding your partner like that. The court heard that McIntosh, who had been smoking cannabis, alarmed 3 strollers on Law Hill with his odd behaviour shortly before the killing. He's been obviously out there trolling for victims, hasn't he? And obviously he's been sizing them up, the witnesses. I put money on that he was sizing them up, man, and obviously they've been like, who's this fucking creep? Know what I mean? Bloodstains found the accused's baseball cap and sock recovered from his home at Dundee's Kenmore Terrace were found to match Miss Nichol's DNA. The likelihood of the DNA belonging to someone other than the victim was 1 in a billion. Just so sad, honestly, man. Know what I mean? And to think this wee fucking scuzz bucket get out to, at least he was going out to date again. Know what I mean? And here's an article for 2017 when he tried to kill this woman, Linda McDonald. I always knew Linda, right? I didn't know if it was right, but a convicted murderer on home leave tried to kill a Dundee dog walker by battering her with a dumbbell, a court heard. Robbie McIntosh, 31, attacked Linda McDonald in August before dragging her from a path in Templeton Woods. McIntosh was jailed for life in 2002 for stabbing a dog walker to death on Dundee Law when he was 15 years old. Mrs. McDonald's husband Matthew condemned the decision to grant McIntosh home leave. He said, "On August the 7th, a horrific and violent attack on my wife turned our family's life upside down. Given his past conviction for a brutal murder, I can't believe the Scottish Prison Service deemed that this sick individual who attempted to murder my wife was allowed to be in the public domain." I'm with you on that, mate. At the time of the attack, McIntosh was to be considered for parole and had been allowed home leave in preparation. Oof. In a statement, Miss McDonald's family called on the Scottish Prison Service and Parole Board to examine their criteria for release and assessment. The court heard that Mrs. McDonald, who attended the hearing with her family, thought she was going to die and has not been able to work since the attack. The 52-year-old, who sustained 2 skull fractures and a badly damaged thumb, was left with permanent scars and now suffers from anxiety and sleeplessness. The Scottish Prison Service said it did not comment on individual prisoners, but said, here it is, right? "A rigorous risk assessment is undertaken prior to any offender being granted home leave." Fucking risk assessments are fucked up, mate. Fuck's sake, but who was doing it? Stevie Wonder? McIntosh pled guilty to the latest charge at the High Court in Edinburgh. He will be sentenced at the High Court in Glasgow on 29th of November. The court was told that McIntosh was given leave on 2nd of August 2017, the 16th anniversary of the murder. 5 days later, he was captured in CCTV, leaving his mother's house carrying a rucksack. Advocate Deputy Ian McSporran QC told the court that Mrs. McDonald had taken a path leading to Templeton Woods with her dog. They should have been fucking notified this cunt was back in the fucking area, I know. Not just these people, but, like, listen, man, be on your guard. He shouldn't have been allowed to go back to that area anyway. As she approached that water tower, she became aware of McIntosh walking towards her as if on a march. She described him as expressionless as he passed her, but she heard his footsteps stop and then run towards her at speed. McIntosh brought the weighted end of the dumbbell down on Mrs. McDonald's head before continuing to hit her. Mrs. McDonald, who said she could feel blood running into her eyes and ears, screamed for help as McIntosh dragged her into the woods. Mr. McSporran said it was a matter of great good fortune that brothers Charles and Peter Connor were in the area walking their dogs and heard her screams and her dog barking. McIntosh fled and was later traced in a house wearing blood-stained boxer shorts. But they could have been if they two brothers chased after him and fucking smashed him while he'd with his own dumbbell, if you ask me. I've just no sympathy or anything for any type of offender like this, man. I know it sounds shite sometimes me saying shit like this in my videos, but you know what? Fuck 'em, man. There's no humanity in somebody like this. Know what I mean? McIntosh's defence solicitor, Chris Fife, said he acknowledges he has committed an abhorrent and disturbing act and that he is ashamed, contrite and penitent. Fuck off! Yeah, fucking bonnet. Wow, mate. Is this what our laws succumb to? Like, you're trying to tell me a psychopath feels shame, contrite and penitence? That's one of the funniest things I've heard all day, man. Remanding McIntosh in custody, Judge Lord Arthurson told him this is one of the worst cases of violence I've ever had to deal with, and he was sentenced to extra time for that. And but I'm telling you now, he'll no get back out. That's just too. Went out and done almost the exact same thing again. Do you know what I mean? Just an absolute frightening young boy. Well, young guy. And when I say young guy, I don't mean like. When I say frightening, what I mean is like, you could never turn your back on a fucking a scumbag like this. Do you know what I mean? But it's what I said. I was going to kind of go into how I believe, like about the psychopath film and all that, but I think the victimology, right? So I thought I would have classified him as disorganised sexual homicide, even though there wasn't any sexual act in the first murder. I do believe he got some sort of kind of thrill that way, and the weapon became the substitute for the sex organ. But when you look at the crime classification manual, it says the term disorganised, when used in reference to a sexual homicide, is based on the same factors that defined organised: victim and crime scene analysis, forensic evaluation and assessment of the act itself. The unplanned, spontaneous nature of the disorganised perpetrator's crime is reflected in each of these factors. The disorganisation may be the result of youthfulness of the offender, lack of criminal sophistication, use of drugs and alcohol, or mental deficiency. So we see here, obviously, he was 15 at the time of the murder. No a lot of criminal sophistication, and obviously he'd been using drugs and alcohol, right? But the victimology defining characteristics say the victim of a disorganised offender may be known to the offender since he often selects a victim of opportunity near his residence or employment. The victim is often from his own geographical area because this offender acts impulsively under stress, and also because he derives confidence from familiar surroundings to bolster his feelings of social inadequacy. So obviously he picked a victim that was very, very close geographically as well, do you know what I mean? Comfort zone, innit? If there are multiple victims of a disorganised offender, the age, sex and other characteristics will show greater variance due to the more random nature of his selection process. The risk factor of a disorganised sexual homicide victim is situational in the sense that by crossing the path of the offender, her risk is greatly elevated. So basically, what that just said there, do you know what I mean? Because these women just crossed his paths. Do you know what I mean? And they saw the opportunity. The victim essentially becomes a casualty because he or she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know what I mean? Just a fucking wee creep, man. Common forensic findings. The disorganised offender is often socially inept and has strong feelings of inadequacy. These feelings of deficiency will compel him to assault the victim in an ambush blitz style attack that will immediately incapacitate the victim. Injury effected in a disorganised sexual homicide is usually done when the offender feels the least intimidated and the most comfortable with the victim. This will be when the victim is unconscious, dying or post-mortem. In addition, sexual assault will probably occur at the time for the same reasons. Now, obviously I've said that there was no assault like that, there was no beastie shit like that, but this is a beastie case, mate. This cunt is just a fucking outright beast. Know what I mean? There may be depersonalisation, which entails mutilation to the face and overkill, excessive amount or severity of wounds or injury to specific body parts, like breast, genitals, all that. The blitz style of attack common to this homicide is often manifested by focused blunt trauma to the head and face. Like the second attempt was the dumbbell was the weapon. Lack of defensive wounds. There is a prevalence of attack from behind. I don't know if he'd attacked the first victim from behind with the murder, but he attacked when he was out in the home leave with the dumbbell. That was from behind because the woman lived to tell the tale, didn't she? And I dare say he used what worked for him in the past. I believe he probably walked by the first woman. She's turned her back and he's just ran up and started fucking plunging her the fucking rat bag, know what I mean? Fucking scuzzbucket. Since death is immediate to establish control over the victim, there is minimal use of restraints. In other words, doesn't need to tie them up because, you know what I mean? Investigative considerations. The disorganised offender usually lives alone or with a parental figure. He lives or works within close proximity to the crime scene. He has a history of inconsistent, poor work performance. He also has a past that demonstrates a lack of interpersonal skills, which may be manifested by involvement in relationships with a partner much younger or much older than he. And there was something about him in court, how they said he was just dead aloof, he just sat there like he was just fucking writing down a shopping list, no, just oblivious to the fact that what he'd done, which kind of alludes to the psychopathy, do you know what I mean? Pre-offence circumstances demonstrate minimal situational stress and change in lifestyle. He will be considered odd by those who know him. I bet you were odd, you fucking twisted wee cunt. This offender usually is sloppy and dishevelled with nocturnal habits such as walking aimlessly around the neighbourhood. Post-offence behaviour exhibited may be a change in eating habits and drinking habits, i.e. more alcohol consumption and nervousness. I don't think he was nervous, but no for anything I could see anyway, he was just calm as fuck. He may also have an inappropriate interest in the crime, for example by frequently engaging in conversation about it. Disorganised behaviour may be evident in victim selection, crime scene and forensics due to usefulness, drug or alcohol impairment, external stressors, for example fear of discovery or lack of criminal sophistication. The disorganised offender does not concern himself with concealment of bloody clothing, shoes or other evidentiary items such as victims' belongings taken from the crime scene. In addition, souvenirs that serve as remembrances of the event and fuel the fantasy of the act may be found among offender possessions. And obviously that last part about not being concerned about the concealment of the bloody clothing, in the two cases he was convicted of, it was linked by bloody clothing, so I think he fits that disorganised sexual homicide. definitely, mate. So, Raging Psycho, in other words, who needs flung right into that mainstream, set right up on, if you ask me. But that's not going to happen. But I hope that wasn't too like graphic or whatever. It's just I'm just trying to tell the story, you know what I mean? And I hope these victims like feel that they can try and get some sort of, I don't want to say closure, because how do you get closure for something like that? But it's just so horrible to know that there's people out there that this scumbag has touched with evil and ruined their lives, impacted their lives through mistakes that didn't need to fucking happen. Do you know what I mean? He should never have got out, but trust me, he's no getting back out, man. They wouldn't even need to change the parole laws for him. He's no getting out, but obviously, how many people are coming up behind him that are capable of this sort of offending? So obviously, maybe it will be looked at, but I'm not going to be like going through all that again, prison system, parole system, and all that shit. So touch wood, know what I mean? But just a horrible case, man. And I remember somebody asked me today, man, like when I first started my YouTube channel about that, but it was just on the back burner, know what I mean? But hopefully the next time we hear about this scumbag in the papers when he's fucking popped these clogs, know what I mean? But you have a good Friday night anyway. I'm going to have a chilled one. And I don't know if I'll be on tomorrow. I'm going to my class in. Well, I intend to go to my class tomorrow, but I woke up pure shattered today, man. But I still fucking dragged my ass down there, know what I mean? Getting into the habit. Not looking at it as like, oh fuck, I can't be fucked with this. Not like, get fucking down there, man, and get it fucking done. And I feel like I'm starting to kind of, it's a snail's pace, do you know what I mean? But I enjoy it, man. It's good. There was meant to go and do your PhD and end up going fucking chasing a fucking a black belt or whatever it is, know what I mean? Not saying I'll get to black belt, well, got my brown in karate, but you don't just get black belts, man. You need, it's not like when you go for a grading, when you're going, if you get nominated, you need to get nominated to go for a black in karate. They don't just go, oh, your black belt grading's next month, whereas if you're going for a green or a blue, an orange, whatever, if you've done a certain amount of classes, you can try for that grading, but with black belt, it's not like that. You actually need to get nominated. It's like get nominated to get made, isn't it? Mental, but I need to get 3 tabs on my brown belt. 3 tabs, which is just like stripes, and if I get them, then I can do it. So they 3 tabs would probably take me 18 months as long as I do the gradings, you know what I mean? But you never know. Stranger things have happened. I never thought I'd have got a degree in say fucking college in criminology, you know what I mean? I never thought that'd have happened. But maybe do my PhD later down the road. Maybe this is all my research I'm doing now, you know what I mean? You never know. I feel so grateful I'm out living my life. I really need to say that. I really do, man. Because I never appreciated freedom before. Because I never had a life before, do you know what I mean? Let's be honest, what's it? Too busy focusing on fucking vengeance and getting people back and fucking all the shit that goes with it, man. But I try and be a better person. I'm a better person than what I'm is, but obviously I'm still a work in progress, know what I mean? But anyway, sorry for fucking bending your ears. But you all have a good weekend and I'll see you next time I'm on. Catches.